series of messages this week, and during this series, I'm going to be talking about 4 different well-known Christmas songs. One of them, maybe the least of the well-known of these, is O Come Emmanuel. We're going to talk about that today. And we're going to just kind of break it down, verse by verse. And in doing so, I want you to see the generosity of God that is mentioned in these songs. Let me let you hear a little bit of how this particular song goes. Okay, the pattern that I'm going to be using during this series is this, that I'll let you hear a verse of a song, then we'll break it down, then we'll let you hear another verse and so forth, and then at the end, we will sing it all together. But these are the songs that we're going to be dealing with over this month, including Christmas Eve service, which is one of our most special services of the year. It's at 6 o'clock, by the way, this coming Christmas Eve. So the second song next week, I'll be talking about O Come, All Ye Faithful. And thirdly, Away in the Manger. And then fourthly, Silent Night on Christmas Eve service. You know, the very day after Thanksgiving, I was in Indiana, and the day after that is when they started to play the Christmas songs on the particular station I was listening to anyway. And it just kind of struck me in a sour way, because as I was listening to, there were 2 songs in particular that were played almost back to back, and these songs were full of what we would say cliche phrases and thoughts, which are fine, but they are cliche, and they don't necessarily speak to the true heart of everything. And I'll just give you some of these phrases like I was hearing in these 2 songs. Snow-Covered Roof, again, we're talking about, I think it was like a Christmas Eve night or something. Snow-covered roof, lights glowing in the windows, and the family was all home. And the mistletoe and stockings were hung appropriately, and the house was filled with laughter. And there was this fire, of course, that crackling fire, and the family singing. And one of the songs said, the family sounded like a chorus of angels. And then one song ended with, and now we're ready to go out and share God's love after what we've experienced in this wonderful family moment on Christmas Eve, which is fine. I mean, that's great, but in reality, that isn't the way Christmas goes a lot of times for all of us. Hopefully, most of us have had Christmases like that at some point in our life, or you will. You'll have a Christmas in which everything just seems to be perfect. It's just perfect. I mean, all the family's there. You know, the family actually has good. Everyone sounds good singing, and they're getting along. And there's a crackling fire, not just a little fire, but a crackling fire. And hopefully you have or have had some Christmases like that. But in reality, which I was thinking in a real realism way on that day after Thanksgiving, in reality, most Christmases aren't quite so beautiful. And honestly, I was thinking in a reality way because, again, it was the day after Thanksgiving. And as a father, I'm just kind of reliving and rethinking of Thanksgiving Day and wishing things could have been a little bit smoother, been a little bit better. I mean, let's face it, let's be very honest. Everyone's family, including mine, is dysfunctional at some point. I mean, we are dysfunctional people. And then when we all get together on one moment, especially when we haven't seen each other for all year long, mostly, and we all just kind of crowding together into one space, it's not all just snow-covered roof and lights glowing and people sound like angels, and you feel like you're ready to go out and share God's love. You just feel like you're ready to go out and breathe and just go eat some M&Ms or something and refresh yourself. And it's not like things were terrible, but it's not like this was. And a lot of times that's how, in reality, in all honesty, that's how Christmas can be. It's not just this. And this particular song, "O Come Emmanuel," is a song that is for us. It's a song for people who live in the real world, people who live with dysfunctions, people who live with things not quite going right, even during Christmas. And it's kind of expressing that. This particular song, musically, is written in a minor key. And minor means that there are certain notes, whenever you put them together with the other notes, they sound sad. They sound depressing. And so artists will write songs, if it's meant to convey something sad, they'll often put minor sounding notes in there. Or there are some songs like this one that entirely is written in minor. Everything is supposed to sound pretty sad. I'm going to give you an example. Gerard's here with me. Gerard, would you play a E major chord? Major's happy. Would you play E major chord? Let me play that again. Now I want you to switch to E minor. Listen. Okay, so let's go back to E. E major is like, oh, everything's fine. The crackling fire and the family sounds like angels, and we're ready to go out and share God's love, and our hearts are about to explode. And then there's minor. Thank you, sir. Now, O Come Emmanuel is for the realism, for those of us that live in a world where sometimes our hearts are minor in a happy season. Let me share some of the words now with you on the first verse. By the way, Emmanuel literally means God with us. It's an amazing thought, God with us, instead of God just someone off in the distance. God's literally with us and even in our heart. So that's what Emmanuel means. O come, God, and be with us. O come is mentioned twice because it's trying to convey the fact that one O come didn't do. This is a long process. O come, and some of you are in a season of your life right now, even during Christmas, where it's like, O come, O come, O come, O come, O come, O come. And it's just been going on and on because sometimes seasons last that way. This particular song is, and this message is very meaningful to me because that time of my life, that 17-month period that I refer to fairly often, and I always will because it's really made me who I am today. But that very depressing time that I went through in which I experienced burnout and I needed to resign my job, my church, and just because I was burnt out and for my own health I needed to resign. That happened during December. And I resigned from my church, and I had no church to go to. I had no full-time income, nothing on the horizon, and I was too bad physically, bad, just emotionally, spiritually, that I couldn't even begin to think about getting into another church, into ministry. And so that particular Christmas Eve is when my family traditionally opens presents. That's kind of the way I grew up. And so that Christmas Eve, I can just remember how empty I felt on that particular night. Because again, I didn't have a job, and I had no way to pay the bills. Hadn't have enough. No way I had enough to pay the mortgage and other things that I had to pay for. I was just no way. I didn't know how it was going to happen. And so this O Come Emmanuel is something I relate to, and it's something where some of you are right now, where life isn't really good right now for you. And look at the wording here. It says, and ransom us, God, because we're captive. Israel, of course, is the group of people. Israel are the group of people that God first decided to work with. But when you see the name Israel, I want you to think not only as just that particular people at that particular time in history, and still the people of Israel now, but I also want you to understand that God always meant for His love and the way that He relationally was to Israel, He always meant to open that up beyond Israel, to open it up to us, open it up to all believers. So when you see the term Israel, I want you could even put your name in there, because it's you too, all right? So these thoughts that are for Israel are for you as well. So again, it says, O come, God, and be with us, and ransom me. You understand that the term ransom is like we would use when someone kidnaps us, kidnaps someone else. And that's how life is. That's how some of you are right now. That's how I was in that December, where unexpectedly life kidnapped me and just was holding me down. And we need someone, and God's that only someone who can really fully save us. So in your present condition right now, you might feel, or this might make more sense to you at another time in your life, later on, I don't know, but you feel ransomed. There's something that you weren't counting on. You didn't have enough money saved up. You didn't have enough health to be able to go through it successfully. You were of age that it wasn't good for you, or whatever it is, something, or someone died. And that part of your soul is taken captive. And so it says, O come, God be with us, and pay the price to get me out of this mess. Whatever it takes, I know you're the only one that can do it, and I feel captive. And then it goes on, it says that mourns. I don't have to explain that word, you understand that. Look at this next word after in, lonely. There's something about the Christmas season that you feel lonelier than if it was in July or even September or another month, because not only visually are things different because the sun isn't as bright and it gets darker earlier and all of that, but because it is supposed to be a time where your mind and your soul and your heart says, I'm supposed to be happy. And it's so frustrating, and you feel so lonely because people are smiling and people are singing songs like we sang today, and there's the Merry Christmas and all of that, and the lights, and there's even music in the stores that you never hear any other time during the year, but your soul can't feel it. And it really makes you feel lonely, and it's so frustrating. And you just feel like you're the only one. And some of you are right there today. You feel exiled. But then the song says, until the Son of God appears. I wish I could give you I wish there was a marked out time where when you struggle and feel sad emotionally, or the loss of a loved one, or you're waiting for that doctor's report that you're nervous about. I wish I could tell you that it lasts just a certain amount of time, and then it all changes quickly. For every one of us, that's different. But here it says, regardless of where you're at in that dark tunnel, there will be a better day. And I can just tell you that in all honesty for me. Even though it doesn't feel like it, and thank God for my wife, she would keep saying, it's going to get better, or you're going to get back in ministry one day. I know you will. And I would just flat out and say, I won't. I'll never get back in ministry again. And so I just want to tell you that one day you will see the other side, and one day it'll get lighter. And then this song is interesting because it starts off in that gloomy way, and then just for a moment, even in the minor key, it finds a way to get kind of exciting, and musically it's like, but there'll be a day that you'll rejoice, rejoice. God with us shall come to thee, O Israel. And again, I like the honesty of this song because it doesn't just act like within the moment of this day, it's going to be all over. Because it still ends with this thought of it hasn't happened yet, but there'll be a day where your heart will be better, where your soul will be better. This is the promise of God. All things work for the glory, for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. All things work together. There'll be a day that this is going to get better, and so that's what the rejoice is. Let me play verse 2 for you.
Oh, come thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and as dark shadows put to flight, rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel.
Let's look at that second verse. If you look beyond the title here to this next line, it starts off and it says, O come thou day spring, come and cheer. Day spring is a word that isn't often used anymore, but day spring means the first sign of light in the morning. The first sign, even before the sun has come up. When you're down and you're discouraged and you're going through that hard time, it feels like the sun's never going to come up. But this song says, there will be moments, even before the sun comes up, there'll be moments of encouragement. There'll be moments of a first light, a first ray of hope that'll happen in just bits and pieces. It might be for 30 seconds, but it feels good. And so, O come thou day spring means, O come thou first sign of hope in the morning, that first sign of light in my darkness. Come and cheer my wounded soul. Our spirits by thy advent here. Advent means arrival. So it says, O first ray of hope, come and cheer my spirit that is struggling right now. by your coming here. And again, this probably is before the sun comes up. This probably is before the light at the end of the tunnel. But thank God, there will just be things, and I'll just encourage you to keep your heart open and try to be around some positive things to give life a chance, to give God a chance to cheer your heart. And so what I mean by that is don't keep the shades drawn. I know that's what you feel like. And somehow, even though you know that's not the best thing to do, it somehow seems right for your heart. But put the shades up and get into an environment where there's some little kids around. Or, just listen to some happy music, even though your heart doesn't agree and isn't there. It's the atmosphere of it all that God can speak through, even if it's just for a few moments a day. There's a voice. That's, when those kids were up here singing on the video or talking on the video, you guys were all smiling. Those are moments of happiness. That little voice there is like, oh, God, thank you for that precious voice of life. It goes on, it says, God, I need you to disperse the gloomy clouds of night that I'm feeling. Just please disperse it so I can breathe. And look at the description here in this. It says, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Some of you, this time of year is especially hard for you because someone's not there. A friend or loved one is no longer here on this earth. And you literally are feeling that death's dark shadows. But death is in lots of ways. Some of you, it's the death you're feeling of depression. Some of you, it's anxiety. Again, for some of you, it's waiting for that phone call. For some of you, your body is just hurting so bad. You have chronic pain. I don't know what the death is for you, but something is missing that used to be there that isn't now. Death's dark shadows. I like the terminology here, put to flight. It is as though God takes those shadows and God balls them up together, and with His strong arm, He just sends them off to flight. This isn't a psalm that just says, okay, as soon as this sermon's done, it's all going to happen. It's all going to be over. No, but instead it says these things can happen within the gloom of a day, and you're still going to be gloomy tomorrow. I hate to tell it to you until you get out of this. But the gloom might come right back tomorrow, but still there'll be moments as you stick with God that He can send that shadow to flight and you can breathe. And again, it reminds us that rejoice, rejoice, because God is still here, God is still with us, and He will come and get you out of this tunnel. Here's another verse.
Oh, come, desire of nations, bind in one the hearts of all mankind. Bid thou our sad division cease, and be thyself our King of peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel.
This verse says, O come, desire of nations. Reminding us again that this idea and this promise is not just for Israel, but it's for the nations. God opens this up. It's for the generations. God opens this up for you and I, regardless of your age. Oh, come, the one that our heart desires, even if you don't realize that your soul is desiring the one who made you. You probably don't feel like it if you're in darkness, if you're in death's dark shadows. But there is one who your soul desires, whether your mind and understands it or not. It's saying, oh, I need to get reconnected to the one who makes me whole. Oh, come, desire of nations, and bind, put together something. Bind in one the hearts of all mankind. I just want to encourage you that if you're going through the dark night of depression or fear, financial struggles, relationship struggles, and you feel like you're in darkness here when everybody else is happy, there will be moments in which God will speak to you and let you know that there's a bigger picture going on that you're part of. And it's just refreshing that sometimes God just says, you know, I'm trying to do things here. I'm trying to work things here. And this particular author is saying, I understand that when the Son of God appears, that He's wanting to bring peace. And He's wanting to put it into the hearts of all mankind. Yes, He'll be here for me, and He's going to help me, but there's something bigger than me that's going on. He says, bid thou our sad divisions cease. There's something about the heart that's sad. There's something about the heart that's going through tough times that you sometimes you just kind of say, I feel so bad. I don't know why everyone else is fighting. Why would people choose to fight? Why would people choose to be bitter? Why would people choose not to forgive? Why would people choose to carry on this when they have a choice? I don't have a choice. Someone was taken from me. Or, you know, I lost my job or whatever. I don't have a choice, but I feel the way I feel, which is an important point. You can't help the way that you feel. You feel the way you feel. However, you can do things like we're talking about today. Try to put yourself in the light. Even though you don't feel like it, try to put yourself around encouraging people, even though it doesn't seem like it's working. So you do have choices, but you feel how you feel. But this person seems to be saying, like, why is everybody who has a choice being painful? Because I know that this Emmanuel comes not only for me, but He wants to give peace to the world. And unfortunately, the world rejects Him, and so the world lives in fighting and bitterness. And I just don't get it, because I know how bad it feels in my heart. But again, it's just a reminder, rejoice, rejoice. God is with us, and God will come, and there will be a better day.
Take heart, O weary soul. Take courage, grieving one. Your Savior's come. Your Savior's come. He's come for us, oh people of God. And He is coming soon, oh
This is my statement to those of you whose hearts are hurting today. Take heart, O weary soul. Take heart. Take courage. You don't have courage. You don't have heart right now. You don't have the heart that's full and the heart that's joyful and the heart that's everybody's singing by a crackling fire. You don't have that, but you can take it from the one who wants to give it, and that is Jesus. I know it's not going to make you feel like you're out of the tunnel, but you can take heart for this day and for this moment. Take courage, oh grieving one. Your Savior has come. He's come for us, O people of God. He's coming soon, oh, put your name there. He's coming soon in your darkness. He's coming soon in the dark tunnel. He is coming. It will be here. I don't know what soon means exactly, but it means He's coming. There will be a better day. God is so generous. Whenever someone whose life is going good, whenever someone who's experiencing the joy of Christmas, the family who can't normally sing well sounds great, and the crackling fire and the mistletoe and everything's just beautiful. For the one who's feeling that, to take time for someone whose heart is feeling the dark shadows of death, that is generosity. Because you're caught up in your feeling good, crackling fire moments, and everything's great. But for you to take a moment and stop and then put your heart and try to join hearts with someone who's crying, that's real generosity. And this is what God is. God is not a God who just wants to take from us. That's not His nature at all. He's not a God who we have to perform for. Instead, God is saying, even at your lowest moments, when you have nothing to give, I want to give myself to you in generosity. This is one of my favorite verses during that time. I had several, but this is one that I want to give to you in darkness. And it's Psalm 34:18, and it says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Keep that close. During that time in my life, I took verses like this and others, and I wrote them down on pieces of paper, and I taped them all in different places of my life. Taped one on the TV, put one on the mirror that I rarely need in the bathroom, but, it's whatever. And taped them in the car, dashboard. I taped the verses like this, and I had them on my phone where I could bring them up quick. But this is one of them. God's close to you. And so here's my challenge as we draw to a conclusion here. I'm going to challenge you. If things are relatively great now, and I thank God for that for you. But I challenge you now, perhaps one of those ways that you would like to use your time or your talents this month is to remember someone whose soul is in darkness. They're single, maybe for the first time. Or they're still single after many years. And being single at Christmas, again, is different than being single in July. But perhaps some of the way that you could use your time or your talents would be doing something. And I just want to encourage you, it doesn't have to be a lot. It's just that you do. You are being there with them. It could be a hello today, a hug. I don't know. You can come up with different ways, but I also want to say this: that don't worry that you don't have the right words to say, because nobody has the right words to say. And that person who's in darkness isn't expecting you to be Jesus, like you'd have the right words to say. That isn't it. It's just that you're there, and you love them, and your presence means I love you, and I'm going to walk through this with you. One of the things I learned early on in ministry, I used to be really nervous about visiting someone in the hospital or visiting someone in their home who's lost a loved one, and what do I say? What do I do? Again, I'm supposed to have the words, you're not. And what would make me nervous is that after an initial greeting and hello, how you doing, and you get past the weather and the niceties about whatever you talk about, then there's silence. And it's like, what do I do? What do I do? And I learned, God taught me that that's okay. People in mourning and depression or whatever need someone to be silent with. That's what Job wished he would have had. Instead of some smart aleck know-it-all friends, just some people that would come and just be silent with him if that's what he wanted to do. Or if he wanted to spout off, someone to listen. They just need someone to be someone with them. And so I learned it was okay. It wasn't awkward. I would just sit there and be silent with them. And whatever they're doing, look out the window, or it's just be there for people. So I challenge you to reach out. And then for those of you that are in darkness this Christmas season, I'm going to challenge you to reach out. And again, that might mean if you have a friend or two, if you have somebody that you can just say, don't expect me to be the life of anything during this season, but I just want to be around someone. And I might not say anything. I just want to be around somebody. I might come to your party with all the punch and all the greatness of Christmas, and I might just sit there in a corner. But that's what I want to do, and it's okay. But I want to do that with somebody. So I want to challenge you to, as much as your spirit doesn't want to, I want you to challenge to reach out to somebody. Do this. This is great. I did this for months. I'd come to church. I wouldn't sing. It's okay if you don't sing in church. I wouldn't sing. I didn't sing for 6 weeks. And I've probably told you this before, but communion was passed during services, and I didn't even take communion. I was so upset. It just felt fake to me. That's okay. But I just encourage you to reach out and just say, I need somebody to just do nothing with. And let somebody know. And go through it with somebody. All right. We're going to sing this song now. You're welcome to sing it or just listen to it. This is the whole song now. And this will be our pattern during this series of messages, the way I've done it today.
Oh, come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lowly exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O
Put your name there.
Israel. Oh, come thou day spring, come and cheer our spirits by thine advent here. Disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and as dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Oh, come, dear desire of nations bind and won the hearts of all mankind. Bid thou our sad division cease, and be thyself our King of peace. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. Take heart, O weary soul. Take courage, grieving one. Your Savior's come. Your Savior's come. He's come for us, oh people of God. And He is coming soon, oh Israel.